BRYAN Mbeumo done. Viktor Gyökeres' message not true. Marcus Rashford decision made. Another forward for Manchester United on the radar. All of your news and updates around Manchester United here on Forever United TV. I'm Adam. Welcome along to your midday update, everybody, on what is going on with Manchester United's transfer window. And today we are starting with positive news. We haven't had much. We haven't had a lot to grip ourselves or grip onto as such this last couple of weeks, let's just say. But it does look like we are about to get a here we go finally for BRYAN Mbeumo. That, according to TalkSport reports today, saying that BRYAN Mbeumo now is extremely close, closer than you ever can imagine us. Yeah, there's that song again. Sorry, I had to do it. It's always there. But yeah, TalkSport come out and saying that now reports from the people in the know around the BRYAN Mbeumo situation between Brentford and Manchester United, like we reported on before, are saying that this deal now is practically done. That final gap was closing this week. We had several reports on that, a matter of a couple of million here or there on that initial payment. It looks like Manchester United have negotiated their way into the deal that they want. This was all around Manchester United not paying what Brentford wanted, and that's what the delay was. United negotiating their own terms. Spurs dropping away. We heard about that earlier on this week. That's is completely off the table. There's not a chance that Mbeumo goes to any other club until United say no thank you. We have known that United have been confident all along. Ben Jacobs, Fabrizio Romano, David Ornstein have all come out and said that yesterday for Manchester United. It now looks like we have got the closest news yet to BRYAN Mbeumo being finalised and a Manchester United player. We know the personal terms are already done, but what TalkSport are actually saying is that gap has now come in, and we can now expect an announcement on an agreement on this deal. This is what they're saying, within the next week. So whether that's this week or early into next week, but everything else now regarding this deal is now being discussed and negotiated behind the scenes, obviously including the agent's fees, the personal terms for BRYAN Mbeumo. That is all now moving forward, and we can now expect an announcement to come. Look, that's their report, and you can obviously take that with whatever sprinkling of salt or whatever flavour you want in terms of that being genuine or not. But there's a lot of people now obviously going down the same line. Everyone has been very, very careful in what they've said, and that's one thing we can notice with this BRYAN Mbeumo deal. It's like no one has really gone over the top and jumped the gun saying it's done. They've all been very, very careful, but all on the same line of conversation, in that this deal was always going to get done. The deal is in on the final fee, the initial fee for Manchester United and what they're paying Brentford. And that's the only thing that has been negotiated over the last week. And now we can actually say, according to this anyway, that this is going to get done. So let's see if they are right, and let's see if we do get something to cheer and celebrate before we get into this weekend, Reds? But that is the positive news to start everything off. Big updates on the Viktor Gyökeres side of thing. Apparently he has told friends and relatives that he's moving to Arsenal. Not the case. I don't believe this report, because there is a story that is circulating about Arsenal being very close to terms with Sesko, as we've already reported. So how can Gyökeres say that he is joining Arsenal? By the way, interesting sort of update on Gyökeres from overseas as well, namely Italy. Juventus were the closest in terms of overseas clubs or clubs outside of England anyway, that were getting Gyökeres. They were the ones that were thought would be able to make this happen. Not so. Italian sources now coming out and saying that the price for Juventus is too high and they are out of the Viktor Gyökeres race. Gyökeres saying apparently that he's going to Arsenal. Arsenal are in for Sesko. So where is Gyökeres? He's in the wilderness right now, and I don't think there is anybody anywhere near close to getting Gyökeres over the line. Where will this leave Manchester United down the line? I've said this all along, and I think Romano has always said it also as well. United will sit back and see if Sporting come down in price. I said it this morning, United will not do a deal for Viktor Gyökeres if Sporting stick to that price. If they bring the price down and everybody's gone, as in the Champions League clubs don't want anything to do with him, then United will be in. But if that price comes down, does that automatically bring in Juventus and the other Champions League clubs. That's what you could argue with this one. So what Gyökeres is saying apparently seems to be different to what's being reported, particularly on the Arsenal front. And where United stand with this is in the wilderness right now, and just don't expect anything to happen unless there is a massive change around. And all of a sudden, he's not bothered about Champions League football and Sporting's price comes down. That's where we're at. That's why Manchester United have been linked with another striker over in the Belgian Pro League called, bear with me on this one, Tolu Aron Kande, or something along that name. Aron Konde. I cannot pronounce his name properly. I will double check that. And yes, it is a name that nobody has heard of. I would challenge anybody to bring up all of the information and talk about this. But this has come from Graham Bailey at Manchester United, now looking at cheaper options in that striker department. This is what we discussed this morning. This is where we're actually at now when it comes to Manchester United striker options, because we are running out of time in terms of these bigger players. Time in the window, yes, but who will be left in the window? Osimhen has made it clear he's not going to either Arsenal or Manchester United. The only English club he wants is Chelsea. Viktor Gyökeres has said that he doesn't want to move to a club that hasn't got Champions League football. We already lost Delap. We're talking about Ekitike, but that price has to drop significantly, and United need to sell players before we get to that point. Are United now losing confidence in the value that they're going to get for the players that they've got at the club? That may change yet. But United are actually looking like they've got another plan on top of a plan, it would seem. And Tolu from Genk, I'm going to say Tolu because I struggle to pronounce his second name. That's just a player that, honestly, I just think he's just there as a name. United have got their scouts out everywhere, and they will be interested in several different strikers. But again, it just looks like United have moved away from the bigger names and the bigger prices, because you've spent all our money on two number 10s in Cunha and Mbeumo. And Mbeumo looks like it is getting close to being over the line, like we just said. So maybe we are having to just keep a check on everything else. I think we will get a striker. What striker? Honestly, I'm going to be completely clear right now. I've got no idea at the moment because it is completely up in smoke. I've got ideas of what I would like, but in terms of what news is going around, I cannot give you any more. There is nothing there. In terms of Marcus Rashford, it has been announced today. Personal terms agreed for Nico Williams to Barcelona, and the Barcelona dreamer is officially over. The Athletic running this story as well, that this is now very, very close. Barcelona will not go near Marcus Rashford, and that, I think, leads us to the Premier League for Marcus and where we go from there. There's no chance he's coming back to Manchester United. Not a chance because of the players that we've brought in. Obviously, the fallout between Ruben Amorim, but this does now focus Manchester United on trying to get rid of Marcus Rashford. I think it makes it easier. I do. Personally, I think this is great news for Manchester United. When you look at it, he is in this complete cuckoo land of where he thinks his level is at and what he can actually do. And dealing with Barcelona would have been hell for Manchester United. Nico Williams signing for them is the best thing that could have happened to Man United and Marcus Rashford all in one go, because we never would have got that deal done. Never in a million years. So Marcus Rashford now having to stay in the Premier League, where he has performed well over the years. That's where United will get more money. That's where Manchester United now have got better value for Marcus Rashford. So thank you, Nico Williams and Barcelona, for making that decision today. That's now just opened the door for Manchester United to negotiate a better deal for Marcus Rashford, I feel, because he belongs in the Premier League. I really don't think there's anywhere else for him. So that, I think, is really significant. But anyway, you get me your thoughts into the comment section, please, everybody. I want to know about Rashford, Mbeumo, Gyökeres, Tolu as well. Should United be looking at cheaper strikers? Is it worth it, is what we're saying. Should we stick with Rasmus and Chido for now and Xerxes until we've got the right player that wants to come for the right money, maybe even next summer? Can we afford to do that this season with what we've brought in already? Big questions for you to answer there. Get into the comment section and let me know, everybody, and I will see you all later on. Give the video a like, make sure you hit that subscribe button that's up on your screen right now, and I'll see you in the next live show, everyone.